Are you ready to dive into the dark, calculated world of the 2026 thriller How to Make a Killing? Or is the plot just a clever distraction from what's actually happening behind the scenes? Welcome back to Remix Movie Explain, where today we aren't just looking at the cinematic flair, we are stripping away the fiction to give you a full review and a deep dive into the facts that inspired this year's most talked about heist. From the chillingly realistic motives to the hidden details you definitely missed on your first watch, we're breaking down whether this story is a masterpiece of suspense or just another Hollywood exaggeration. So buckle up, because the truth behind making a killing is more complicated than you think. Directed by John Patton Ford, How to Make a Killing is a 2026 black comedy thriller that draws its dark inspiration from the 1949 British classic Kind Hearts and Coronets, featuring an elite ensemble cast led by Glenn Powell alongside Margaret Qualley, Jessica Hennick, Bill Camp, Zach Woods, Topher Grace, and Ed Harris. The film made its highly anticipated debut via A24 in the United States on February 20, 2026. This was followed by a European rollout through Studio Canal, hitting theaters in the United Kingdom on March 11 and France on March 25. Despite its star-studded lineup and prestigious distribution, the film has sparked significant debate, ultimately receiving a mixed response from critics across the board. While awaiting execution on death row, Beckett Redfellow recounts his dark journey to a priest. Born to a mother exiled from the wealthy Redfellow dynasty for her scandalous pregnancy, Beckett was raised with the singular ambition to reclaim the life he felt he deserved. Following his mother's death and a humiliating demotion at work, Beckett embarks on a cold-blooded mission to eliminate the remaining heirs of the Redfellow fortune. He begins a spree of strategic murders, successfully killing his cousins and working his way up the family hierarchy, all while climbing the corporate ladder at the family's investment firm and beginning a romance with a woman named Ruth. As the body count rises, Beckett's plan hits a moral roadblock when he realizes he has grown to respect his uncle, Warren. He decides to abandon his killing spree and settle down with Ruth, but fate intervenes when Warren dies of a heart attack, leaving only Beckett's grandfather, Whitelaw, in his way. On the night of his engagement, Beckett is blackmailed by his childhood friend Julia, who has proof of his crimes. After a tense final confrontation at the family mansion, Whitelaw reveals that he recognizes Beckett's cutthroat nature and demands his grandson kill him to prove his worth. When Beckett refuses, Whitelaw attacks, forcing Beckett to kill him in self-defense and finally securing the inheritance. However, the victory is short-lived. Beckett is arrested not for his actual murders, but for the killing of Julia's husband, Lally, a crime he didn't commit, but one for which he left accidental fingerprint evidence. Just hours before his execution, Julia offers him a deal. She will produce a withheld suicide note that proves his innocence if he signs the entire Redfellow fortune over to her. Beckett complies and is exonerated, but at a heavy cost. Ruth leaves him in silence, returning his mother's locket as a sign of her departure, leaving Beckett to ride off with Julia, the new owner of the empire he spent his life trying to steal. Glenn Powell steps into the role of Beckett Redfellow with a magnetic blend of everyman charm and simmering menace that immediately anchors the film's black comedy tone. Cast as the disowned blue-collar heir who embarks on a calculated campaign to eliminate his wealthy relatives and claim a billion-dollar inheritance,